Hey everyone, welcome back to John's Watch. Today I'm taking a look at another new visual novel on Nintendo Switch. This is called Raging Loop. Now this is going to be released on October 22nd, 2019. I'm playing it a bit before it comes out. Its regular price is $29.99 US or your regional equivalent, and it's developed by Kemco and is published by P-Cube Entertainment. Now this was actually released on Steam in 2017, but it never actually had an English translation, not an official one at least. So if you wanted to play it on Steam, you couldn't really, unless you were okay with not being able to play it in English. But now we've got an English translation on Switch. Fantastic. It looks pretty spooky, perfect for the month of October. Let's read it. May 11th. Presumably. I closed in on the side of the road and killed the engine. It was steeper than I thought. My bike was on the verge of giving out, so I pushed down and deployed the kickstand. Oh, CG already, and of the main character, amazing. Well, I'm lost. Maybe taking a ride down an unknown road with no sat-nav on me wasn't such a good idea. I'd just followed the road, so I figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in some deep shit. No, cool it. This isn't a big deal. I sighed, took note of the fact that I'd gotten lost in my pocket journal, and then pulled out a map. A MIP. Suddenly, a rush of memories flitted into my mind. Ooh. Okay, so there's like some unique parts of this game. There's a scenario chart, which you can see down at the bottom if we press Y, which basically lets you kind of like jump to any point in the game you've already played. So you don't have to like save before every choice. You can jump back to a choice if you want to. It said it'll explain more when we actually find one. And there's also keys, so I guess we need keys before we can unlock this. Yeah, we can't even click on it, because we need 4 keys. And it did say like that can be considered one of the goals of the games is to find all the keys. So we'll just forget it for now. I somehow kept myself from remembering those things. Somehow. After all, I'd gone on this trip to forget. Interesting.
More.
So loop, Raging Loop kind of implies that you'll be like replaying a few times, which I guess you do in most visual novels anyway. But presumably things will change over different playthroughs. So this sounds very interesting to me already.
やめやめ。目の前の現実を直視。
Oh God, the main character's voiced.
人生はシンプル。つまりこの道のごとく、真っ暗で道案内もなく、進むか返すか。考えることはそれだけ。
Going back wasn't an option in this case, so I just moved forward. Still, I wanted to know where I was at least, so I looked down at my map. It was all Greek to me. Last time I'd seen a sign it was still light out, meaning I'd gotten lost after the sun had set. Sure, it was my own fault for just guessing which intersections I'd been passing through, and that it had taken me 2 hours to conclude I was lost. Crazy to think that just 2 hours of aimless driving got me almost completely surrounded by mountains. They extended as far as the eye could see. If you flipped the scenery upside down and shook it, it's unlikely that even a shred of civilization would tumble out. Besides the asphalt below, my sweet ride, and the lamppost above, the first one in a while, mind you, there was nothing man-made here. The pocket map I had wasn't detailed enough for me to figure out where I was.
進むか。
I'd go as far as I could. If worst comes to worst, I could just camp at the side of the road. That sounds very uncomfortable with a bike. But I guess it's quite deserted, so you'd probably be okay, to be honest. I think you'll find a village, though. 2 hours later, though, I deeply regretted ever thinking that. Basically, camping wasn't an option. This mountain road had no side to camp on. A dump truck I'd passed barely even fit on it. I'd also had my first close encounters with wild forest animals. I'd already seen 2 boars and 3 deer in those 2 hours alone. One of the deer had run parallel to my bike while intently staring at me, and I had no idea what to think of that. I think I'd be a little bit perturbed. I felt like I could smell my fear and did it just to make things worse. How dare the thing do that to a human? We're the kings of this planet, damn it. I'd have to remember to eat some venison once they came back to civilization. That'll show him. Anyway, camping out here was a bad idea. I'd end up as either roadkill or animal food. And yet, I didn't back out. Why? Because I'm a pretty warped sort of guy, and I won't pretend otherwise. That was actually the reason why my once comfortable relationship had gone awry, and why I'd gone on this stupid trip. Mysterious. Still, despite acknowledging that, I chose to keep moving forward. It wasn't like I'd find a place to stay if I went back. I was actually starting to think that this experience might make a good conversation piece sometime down the road. It was really getting late at this point. Where would these roads take me anyway? A village in the mountains. It'd probably be disappointing. Soon enough, the road became flat. I was out of the mountain pass. The forest remained abundant though, so I still didn't see much. Even so, the streetlights and signs were enough to make me feel I was again nearing civilization. Was streetlights the right expression for lights in a forest? I'd have to look that up. As the road grew less rugged, I realized just how exhausted I was. All this bike handling had left my hands really sore too. I really had to rest. Suddenly, I saw something unexpected. Powerful, colorful, artificial lights. A convenience store? Konbini? That's actually what it is, that's not racist. I think that says tobacco? Oh, tobacco, there you go. That's exactly what it was. I don't know what the left thing means, but the bottom right says tobacco. It was next to an intersection between the road I was on and another, even thinner road that could probably support only a single car. The sea of trees ended, giving room for the majestic child of our consumerist society. Yeah, that was an exaggeration. Apparently even a damn store was a big deal for someone who just stepped out of the wild. It was called Fresh Mark. I'd seen several of them a few times during the day. It was probably a local franchise. The building didn't look all that old. At least the parking lot looked a lot smoother compared to the roads. This was a pretty weird place to build something like that, though. Was I close to a settlement? Or did they actually make a profit off of lost travelers? I'd just ask that, or something. A local shopkeeper was bound to know what was around these parts, not to mention I was pretty thirsty. Same, I need someone to talk so I can have a drink. I was welcomed by a weird chime sound. It looked like a normal convenience store. There were goods on the shelves, a counter on the left, and... Whoa! The worker at the counter was so mean looking it was scary. She was so imposing I wouldn't have doubted if someone told me she was in charge of some ladies' army corps. Was that supposed to be a greeting? It was so cold it actually gave me chills. Was this store shadier than it appeared? Was I about to be stupidly overcharged? Was this how this place made a profit? By taking advantage of lost people and basically beating them out of their money? Ugh, that was scary. Clearly, the Wonderland had only just begun. Woohoo. I sure was excited for the beating. I grew more nervous and less enthusiastic by the second. I braced myself, but she just looked down at a magazine in her hands. Oh, so she was just a slacker. Slightly disappointed, I walked around the store. It was about what you'd expect. There was a small shelf with energy drinks, followed by some stationery, travel goods, sanitary stuff, etc. There were sweets that came with toys, a shelf of cup ramen and dried food, a fridge, a freezer. All looked pretty normal. It was late, so the daily dish and packed lunch section was completely empty. The only special thing about this place was the section full of unpacked vegetables you'd expect to see at a greengrocer's. Maybe all rural convenience stores were like this? I was slightly surprised by that, but there weren't any local fine foods or anything, so all in all, it was an unremarkable store. If you ignored the clerk, anyway. I took a drink and brought it to the register. Yep, she really was the highlight of this place. What kind of clerk smokes while dealing with a customer? Yes, I was actually buying. She was the clerk and I'd be her god, the customer.
126 yen.
She didn't even scan it. This exchange was at the mercy of the clerk. God is dead. May I had to get mad at her?
ちょっといいですか? 実は道に迷ってしまって。
I quickly turned meek.
町はどっちにあるでしょうか? あっち。いや、できれば地図とか。ない。
Man, this woman.
いや、そんなはずはないでしょ。コンビニなんて大体道聞かれるから、地図は常備してるもんでしょ。
知らねえよ。ないもんはねえ。おとなしく来た道戻れよ。
もう数時間迷ってるもんで、これ以上はちょっと。
その辺の床で寝てけば。
She had to be joking. Wouldn't you take that over, like, sleeping at the side of the road? I probably would.
いや、お気持ちだけでいいんで、道だけちゃんと教えていただけたら。
ああ、もう、うっせえな。待ってろ。
The clerk put out her smoke in the ashtray and went to the staff-only area. She came back in no time.
あったわ。
So she did have a map. Of course she did. Even more ill-tempered than usual, the clerk started giving an explanation.
これがこの店。で、十字路を北へ行け。しばらくしたら立教があっから渡れ。最初の分岐のとこに大岩があっからそこを右折して、あとは直線。
この道？
んだよ。
いや、この先何もなくないです？
書かれてねえだけで集落があんだよ。
そこ以外なら？
富士吉村まで行くには峠道を2時間。こっちなら30分で着く。
Fujiyoshi seemed to be a village. It didn't look too far away, but the road leading to it was a huge branching mess. It was clearly just a paved mountain pass, and I'd had enough of those for one day. I'd probably just get lost again.
じゃあ、こっち行ってみます。ありがとうございます。
金。
はい？
払ってねえだろ。茶の。
ああ、じゃあ500円。なぜ、お釣りを無断で募金箱に入れるんですか？
小銭多いとうぜえだろ。
That was a hell of a line. I casually thanked her, grabbed the plastic bottle of tea, she didn't give me a bag by the way, and left the store. I drank the tea in the parking lot and looked up at the moon, obscured by clouds, but still bright enough to outshine the light of the convenience store. The clerk put me in a bad mood though, so I didn't enjoy the sight. I threw the bottle into a nearby trash can and aggressively drove away. Following the directions, I crossed the overpass and arrived at the first fork in the road. The byway she told me about was really narrow. I probably wouldn't have noticed it if it weren't for the tall boulder, standing there like a roadside shrine for some traveler deity. Turning carefully, I got on the road. A minute later, I found myself in an even worse wilderness than before. A veil of dead leaves covered the ground, tall grass sided the path, and the sky above was blocked by overgrown shrubs, making it feel like I was passing a wooden tunnel. The road itself was a huge red flag. It was a wonder why I didn't just turn around. The exchange from before might have pissed me off more than I thought. Still, I really didn't expect the road to just end. It happened about 15 minutes in. The view ahead suddenly turned strangely dark, and a split second later the bike tipped forward. I reflexively hit the brakes, but it was too late. I started going down a cliff. My bike tilted downwards, and the suspension was put to the greatest test yet, as we basically tumbled down to the bottom. The headlights suddenly shone on some dirt and grass, and I knew then I'd be flung out of my seat. Stifling a scream, I tried to work some steering and brake magic to slow down without collapsing. But that was too big a task for a simple road bike. At the bottom of the cliff, it jumped higher than ever before. The suspension couldn't handle the impact, and I was launched into the air. A moment later, I heard a crash and felt an impact, after which came an unpleasant pain. Oh, my Joy-Cons just vibrated. An accident where I was flung out like that was a first for me. The launch was really something too. I did a 360 in the air and fell on my back. My breathing stopped for a moment, and the pain was so bad I thought all my bones shattered. My face and limbs seemed pretty fine at least, though I wasn't sure if that counted as a silver lining. There was grass under my hands. I felt it even through the gloves. That and the smell of green made it pretty clear what I landed on. I pushed down, and my hands sunk. This grass growth was pretty hefty. It's probably the reason why I came out relatively okay. Sure, my joints creaked when I stood up, but aside from that, I was fine. It was really dark, so I couldn't really confirm it, but I was pretty sure I wasn't even bleeding. My bike, however, wasn't nearly as lucky. He's going to be trapped in this little village forever. It was lying on its side a short distance ahead. The engine was still on. The back wheel kept on turning, making an unpleasant, fricative noise. Yep, it was busted. I walked up, killed the engine, and took the key. With the headlights off, I was surrounded by absolute darkness, so I just stood and waited until my eyes adjusted. I still couldn't see very clearly, but it looked like this actually wasn't a cliff. I was still on a road, it just wasn't paved beyond this point. Obviously, a road bike stood no chance against an unpaved road. That woman actually tried to kill me. Zigzagging through the trees, I followed the narrow footpath deeper into the forest. I tried getting my bike up and running again, but instantly gave up. It was partially stuck in mud, so there was a risk of it slipping and getting me into another accident. Maybe I had to turn around? The moment I considered that, I thought I saw a faint light ahead. If that woman wasn't lying, this road did lead to a settlement. Was I close? I reached into my jacket's pocket, took out my phone and opened it up. As you'd expect, I was out of range. I ran the light app and shone a light to see better. Though weak, it was better than nothing. At the very least, it helped me watch where I was going. I had no idea how long I'd been walking for. But sure enough, I could see a light beyond the shrubs. It was weaker than expected. A flashlight, perhaps? I could hear water too. I might have been near a river.
すいません
I raised my voice.
すいません誰かいませんか
Still declaring my presence, I walked forward. It was late at night. Were I to bump into someone here, the scare would probably take a few years off our lives. That was why I figured it was best for us both to let the other know we were here before it happened. However, there was no response. Could they not hear me over the rapids?
すいません
I shone my light ahead and realized I'd made it to an opening. Sure enough, there was a river. Or a stream, rather. We're still not at the village, jeez. I could see slightly more than I had while surrounded by trees. Straining my eyes, I saw a rocky river beach in the shallows. The light I'd seen was on the other side. From what I could tell, it was either a lantern or a flashlight, and it was close to the ground. I didn't see any people, though. No one responded to my shouting either. I wasn't excited about it, but I decided to step into the water. The cold water quickly soaked my shoes and socks. I could have taken them off, but I'd figured that crossing a river barefooted at midnight was a bad idea. But man, was it cold. I put my phone back into my jacket. I needed both my hands free in case I fell. Not stopping or backing down, I walked toward the light. It suddenly became deeper. The water reached my knees now. I was a bit too close for comfort. Feeling the bottom with my toes and balancing myself, I somehow avoided losing my footing. The flow was fiercer than I'd expected. If I slipped and fell, I'd probably be washed away. It suddenly hit me I was doing something really weird, but it was too late to back down. Putting my hands on the boulders and carefully checking what I was stepping on, I gradually made it to the other side. Then, with an unpleasant wet sound in my every step, I walked up to the light. I could already see it clearly. Yep, it was a flashlight, lying on the ground for some reason. There wasn't much space here. It was a narrow riverbank with a cliff right beside it. As you'd expect, I didn't see or sense anyone nearby. What the hell? Though old, the flashlight was working fine. The strength of the light told me that the battery was pretty full. That meant that someone was actually using this tonight. Or rather, until just a few moments ago. That was the most logical conclusion. It obviously wasn't left here yesterday afternoon or evening. And yet, the user was nowhere in sight, and I was near a river. Did something bad happen? Did the flashlight's owner step into the stream and get swept away? That was the most likely, and worst, possible scenario. However, the flashlight was left there practically buried in the pebbles. It didn't seem like someone placed it there to light things up. It was the dead of night. There's no way you wouldn't notice dropping your flashlight when it was so dark. Right, the fact that a light source was left in a place like this was strange by itself. With that considered, what was going on here? What if? What if someone heard my stupid shouting and decided to lure me in with the lights so they can ambush me? Where would they attack from? Above?
こんばんは。
Huh? Good evening? I heard a voice the moment I looked up. The rock cliff was actually made up of several boulders. There was a face peeking from behind one of them.
こんばんは
Good evening.
あー、人だ。びっくりした。
That was my line.
悪いんだけど、それ取ってもらえます？
The voice was feminine. I finally realized what was going on.
落としたってわけですか
I picked up the flashlight and pointed it at the source of the voice.
にゃん。
High-pitched voice, slender hand shielding from the light. Sure enough, it was a young woman.
眩しいな。
お、失礼。ちなみに、こっちはこういうものですが、
怖いです。下から照らさない。
実は、当方道に迷っており、
だとすると、割と究極的に迷ってますよ。
Yeah, thought as much.
ここって人里です。
難しい質問だな。
とりあえず、助けてもらえないかと。
助ける？
雨露しのげて、野生動物がいなければ何でもいいんで。
Standing on a boulder, the young woman made a pensive face.
じゃあ、打ち来ます？
And that was the conclusion she'd arrived at. Her face told me she was 100% serious. Place. My place. By that she surely meant a house. A settlement.
いいんです。頼んどいてなんですが、遠慮を忘れてすがりたい程度には切羽詰まってるんですが。
え？男として？
ええ。いや違う。一個の生命として。数時間迷った挙句、バイクでこけて、心身ともに限界ってわけです。
あらら。なら、見捨てるのもどうよって感じじゃないです？一個の生命として。
And so, I was saved. Oh, the beauty of living beings looking out for each other.
じゃあ手、いいです？
ん？
ここ、一人じゃ登れないでしょ？
True. Honestly, I didn't even realize I'd have to. Meeting another person filled me with relief, which was followed by a sudden wave of fatigue. It wasn't crippling, though. She extended her left hand, so I grabbed it with my own left. Her slender fingers were stronger than expected. The girl's name was Chiemi Serizawa. I asked if she was related to the Shinsengumi guy, but she said that her family just adopted the name at some point in the Meiji period. She was a 21-year-old who went to a college far away from here. This was her hometown, and she was spending her post-exams vacation here. We chatted about stuff like that once she'd led me out of the rocky ravine. There was actually a proper path, so the rock climbing was pretty pointless, but I was too focused on my footing to comment. She had told me about herself as soon as we reached solid ground. Okay, I think I'm going to have to leave the video there. My voice is starting to go a little bit. Been recording this for 34 minutes so far. This is looking really cool. It's definitely like a little bit off so far. The convenience store in the middle of nowhere, the lady being weird, this girl being like super friendly and wandering around in the middle of the night. So it's very, very intriguing so far. I'm definitely going to try and finish it. I still have like 40 hours of Clanad left to play probably, so I won't get to it for a while, but I think I will try and get to this hopefully after Clanad, maybe. Anyway, that was a look at Raging Loop on Nintendo Switch. Thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!